There we go. Left lane. The hot hand, as you pointed out, Tim Georg. Intensity on his face is pretty evident, and intensity in a crushing strike on the left lane gets things started.
Tim Georg, a pool builder and a BPA member, builds pools for A1 Pools. Been married for 10 years to Lynn. Has 3 children, Adam, Kyle, and Robin. You know they are all watching Dad go at it today. He's got his hands full with Mr. Downs. And Alan Downs in our second game keeps mowing down the pins.
Tim Georg had 7:31 to make it to our show, and yesterday at Coleraine he shot once again 7:44. It's every week.
But like at the Kingpin show, Jim, when I mentioned it then, I've never seen Tim Georg throw the ball as well as he has in the last couple of months. It's just coming off of his hands so smoothly and so effortlessly. And then the roll just absolutely eats the pins up. It's a phenomenal shot. Alan Downs starting out with a double on the left lane. Let's look at it. Watch the extension on this shot, folks. All the way through. Arm right past the side of the head. This ball, no deflection. That's the head pin, and that's the 6 that you see. Still sitting there, but they're in the right position anyway. Horizontal.
Down.
Yeah. Down. That's
exactly.
Right. Down for Downs. Tim Georg, right lane, wants to stay with it, but he's going to go right high and through the nose. The bigger sweeping hook that he will be throwing throughout the match will give him a little bit more side action on his strikes. It'll also create a potentially unmakeable spare, such as the 4-7-6. Tim Georg on a strike will shoot for the 4 and the 7, probably with a little extra speed, with the hopes of bouncing one of them out of the pit in the back. But this is next to impossible.
You know Tim Georg is going to give it a go, and here it is. Nope.
We'd like to take an opportunity to thank all of our Hudy people. There they are. Tony Plank to your left, Lee Ritter behind him, Evelyn Ritter, his wife, to the right, and Connie Wagner in front of them. They come out every week and support us, and we can't thank Hudy enough for supporting the BPA King of Bowling show.
Absolutely. Dynamite, folks. Matter of fact, going to be getting together with Tony and Connie Wagner out at the Western Hills Country Club. Their stag this week. Former L.A. Raider quarterback, Oakland Raider quarterback, Kenny Stabler going to be in town Tuesday night.
All right.
Ooh, slip there. And still got 10 down. Let's take another look at that if we get a chance, because that was some kind of work by Tim Georg to get 10 down. He almost fell over.
Tim Georg's game is so sound right now that even though his arm is going in the right direction, he's losing his footing, but his arm swing is so pure, and his release is so strong right now that he winds up with a strike. It's a late 10. It goes out cleanly, though, but tell you what, when you get things going right, you can do 1 or 2 things wrong once in a while and get away with it.
Make it 3 in a row for Downs.
There's a man that's been doing nothing wrong lately. 2:31 in his first match to advance to this game. There you see it. Perfect through the first 3. Tim Georg with what could prove to be fatal open in the second frame.
We should note that it's not a misspelling of Tim Georg's name. It is indeed Georg. No E at the end. It wasn't New Raff that made a grammatical spelling error there.
Sure that isn't Tim Georg? That would be the grammatical pronouncement, wouldn't it? Georg? Oh, look out on that shot.
Oh, look at him. He does not believe it. He does not believe it. Throws the shot this well. Let's take a look at it here, Tom. What's he do wrong? Absolutely nothing. Ball's going to roll cleanly. Now watch it just take the 5 pin. Going to deflect a little bit. 5's going to go in front of the 8.
How tough to pick up?
Next to impossible again. You've got to go for just a lucky break like that out of the pit, but it didn't happen, and hope the next slaps up and gets it. So on a very good delivery, he pays the maximum price with an open, and we've got a match again all of a sudden.
On the virtually unmakeable splits, you want to be sure that you get that pin count, because you are on a strike, which would give you 2 extra pins. So you get 1 and it counts 2, so that's important.
Exactly. Good point. And keep that in mind at home. rather than taking a chance and going for it, at least get one of them.
His footing again, not as clean as I've seen Tim George lately. Let's take a look at it here if we can. Now watch, after he delivers, he's going to slip just a little bit. See, his foot goes off of perpendicular, not the way Tim George has been scoring so highly lately, but his arm swing and release so pure today, it's just not making any difference. Great shot.
And we won't be giving away those pair of escorts to the 300 bowler that Walt Sweeney so graciously has brought us this morning, but we're going to look on to next game. Dave Callery, our king.
Well, and the way he knocked him down last week, that's not out of the question.
Wow, what a shot.
10 more down. So after a slow start, George is picking up steam. We've got a good one.
Well, I mentioned last week for all of you helpful people that are sending in requests for tips, help me tape some tips. I was going to give away something worth at least $100. Well, the Schwinn people and Wright Brothers Cyclery. Wright Brothers Cyclery donated that. They've got a store in Covington, historic Covington, Kentucky, and another store opening the first up on Montgomery somewhere. So we want to thank them for donating the prize, and we want to thank the response from the home viewers because they've really provided me with some great ideas.
When you plan on announcing that winner, David? Anytime in the near future?
Well, we'll announce the winner probably on the last show, the championship show. We'll just announce it then, and then we'll have the bike delivered to whomever. But since there's been repetition in a lot of the ideas, rather than give away or me try to play some sort of judge on who sent in the best tip, I think what we'll do is anybody that's taken the time to send something reasonably good in, we're going to throw all the names in a hopper and then just go ahead and pick one, because we've had some great ideas.
Oh, yes. Got it to fall. Good break there for Alan down.
Let's take a look at it on the split screen. You're going to see a little body English at the end of this shot because he knows he needs it. The late 10, the last one on the right-hand side of your screen is going to be the last one to go down. Alan Downs drifting to his right. He knows it needs a slap out of the channel. Does he get it? Yeah. Or as they say in the Karate Kid, point blue.
Now Tim George. Oh, head pin high.
Same lane he went high on before, helping the ball up just a wee bit, cutting through, actually getting a break and only leaving the 610. Let me get back to the letters for just one more time. I need some help on this one, guys. Denny Schmidt. If you happen to be a weekly listener, or if you know Denny, are you really on the USS White Plains combat stores ship? I mean, I didn't know. I know WLW is a strong station, but I didn't know we got to the coast or to the Middle East.
I wasn't aware of that either.
So, Denny, if you could tell me if you just bought this in the Army surplus store or if you're actually over there watching us, that might be an interesting story.
I mentioned that Pat Cannon was our high lady from yesterday with a 667. She was also our winning woman from Stones Lane here, and she had 623, and she won $200 for that. And I'd like to tell all you women to come on out and bowl, because there's a lot of money to be won.
Tim George trying to win a few bucks today after getting that spare in the 6th. Comes right back in the 7th with a strike. And now it'll be Alan Gaines' turn in the 7th.
There you go again with that Gaines. I tell you, maybe you ought to change his name.
You know, the problem is here, I just did a story not too long ago on a guy named Alan Gaines, and it's locked in my mind. Alan Downs, I apologize. Mercy.
Week 10 off of probably one of his worst shots so far. This ball is going to deflect very, very sharply to the right. Watch it after it hits the head pin. Center of your screen, jump to the left. Right, or to the right, I'm sorry, right there. 5 pin goes in front, takes a 3 straight back, and the 6 just kind of flounders into the channel. One of the weaker shots we've seen from Alan today, but still in the lead.
Does not want to miss this 10 pin. And he doesn't. We've seen a lot of those missed, however, this year. I think, Dave, you alluded to the fact last week that we probably, in last week's show alone, we probably saw more spares missed than we had all of last season.
Exactly. you're not going to blame the conditioning for that, but the conditioning was something that was basically unfamiliar as you cross it. It was a very good scoring condition, as our base scores indicated, but tricky to go across.
And of course, we still are averaging 230, so that tells you how many strikes we have.
A bunch. Almost got a whirly bird out of the pitch there, but not so on Allen.
Our youth winners from Stones Lanes here were Keith Ivey from Cherokee Bowl and Deanna Walker from Seymour Lanes. Keith had a 572, and Deanna Walker, with her handicap, had a 665. Of course, Keith was the scratch champion, and Deanna was the handicap champion.
And what kind of scholarship money do you get out of that, Jen?
Oh, well, the highest game I know will get a tuition to the professional bowlers camp by the men, the high game, the boys. And the females will get, let's see, what will we get? I'm not really sure, but I know it's 607 by Christy Brockman, who's a fine Stones bowler. And her mother ain't bad either, Bert Brockman.
No.
You got that right.
I guess she'll get also a scholarship to the professional bowlers camp.
Tim George, high and down, lane number 18 here at Stones. And making it happen with 10 down.
He's going to take the lead with that strike, too, for the first time in the game.
Well, this should be a nice match finishing up here because, as Jen just mentioned, George took his first lead of the match. However, Alan Downs is by no means out of it.
And we can hear Dave Callery rolling off to our right here, practicing for our last match. Dave had like a 730 something last week to make it to the kingship, dethroning Stan Eaton.
What a shot by Tim George. He just mowed him down there, David.
Well, that'll give us 156 in the 7th for Tim George and 154 for Alan Downs. Of course, Tim has the double, so it's going to be a 12-pin lead with a strike advantage. Alan's going to have to get on the gun right now.
Wait a minute. Don't know if we want to get that drastic about it, but Alan needs to really fill the 1-3 pocket up. We know that. It's in the area. Wrap 10. Look at the disbelief in his face. Like, you've got to be kidding me. He gave it his best shot. Let's take a look at one of his best shots right here. Extension, you bet. Great roll, you bet. No deflection. Keep your eyes on the second pin from the right-hand side of your screen. That's the 6th pin, the culprit. Wrapping right around the belly and quick.
It was quick.
Alan Downs has to be wondering, what do I have to do? Some games you get the breaks and sometimes you don't. Picks up the 10 for a spare. But the way his opponent's going right now, he's going to have to more or less strike out the rest of the way to have any chance of winning this.
Well, what we have actually is a 13-pin deficit with a strike advantage working for Tim. That actually turns it into plus another 10. So you can call it 23 pins going into the 10th frame. Not insurmountable, but Alan's job is this, and that is to strike and to strike 3 times.
There's one.
Potential 223 if he strikes out all the way. Tim George at this point in the match is going at a 246 pace.
Alan Downs averages between 210 and 220. Has bowled a 300 game.
This will force him to mark in the 10th if he can get this one.
Yes, sir.
That's what it's all about, match play competition. Whew, don't go away.
Still thinking about that 10 pin.
You bet he is.
Yeah,
And of
you
course,
can see the look on his face.
The 8-10 in the 4th would have made it, had that it fallen, would have made it 6 in a row, so that was definitely a big, big frame.
He may be thinking about it well into tomorrow. And 3 in a row.
Goes for the big pin count, and boy, how important is that? Let me tell you what. And Tim George, being the experienced match play competitor that he is, knows that Alan Downs did everything he could to make his life difficult. Finishing with 223, will force Tim George to get an 8 count and a spare and a strike to win.
We should note Tim George has not been on the telecast very often over the last few years, has never been our king. Does that matter? According to that shot, no deal.
Not anymore. The party's over for Alan Downs, but I tell you what, he really didn't get any help that game at all, Jen. It was a solid 10 in the 9th frame, and another bad break back there in the 7th or 8th. I forget which frame could have went to, but still a very creditable showing, 223.
Absolutely. He bowled super. He has nothing to be embarrassed about, and I hope we'll see him back.
Sure we will. But before that happens, Tim George wants to finish off in impressive fashion of his own. Boy, after a slow start, he really turned it on in this game.
Well, if he finishes out, he'll have 246, if I'm looking at that correctly, against 223. And as you pointed out, giving him the subtitle Tim George, the hot hand in town, will be going against our hot king from last week, David Calorie, in the last match, leaving one. Final score will be 243. 223, a 20-pin win for that man, Tim George, and we'll be back, 245, excuse me, we'll be back in just a few minutes.